What was the most satisfying thing that you saw happen to someone in your party who tried to get out of paying their part of the check at a restaurant? 1. A large group of about 12-16 people used to go to a BYOB Mexican place. The most expensive item on the menu was $7.50, and you could get a plate full of food for $5. So it was by no means a pricey place, and as you could bring your own beer, it was very affordable. Great food, though. We would sit in a back room, drink a bunch of beers and have a great time. It was pretty standard to tip $5 pp, so the total cost was under $25 per couple. We'd pass the check around, toss in money and a tip. One woman didn't have any small bills, so she got the check last and used our money for change. Then it happened again, and I noticed she took two 20s and a 10. I knew everyone else left $5 each for a tip, so I asked the server how much of a tip she got, and realized the woman was paying for her and her husband's food with our tips. So the next time we all went, she pulled the "I don't have any small bills" shtick again. But I was ready for her. I said, "I've got plenty of cash. How much change do you need?" Before she could recover, she shot me a look of pure death. Her husband rocked back in his chair and just about choked trying to hold in his laughter. He knew what she'd been doing, but was too much of a milquetoast to say anything. It was grand. 2. I had a friend who was a sod for not paying her way. So the next time we went out as a group she was, "Oh, I forgot my purse," bearing in mind we knew damn well it was in her pocket because the corner was sticking out. One of the group's father owned the restaurant, so she quietly went and saw him. The bill arrived in portions, so we paid for ours. As she read her bill she went bright red, paid and left immediately. We looked at her bill and on the special orders it read "purse and left pocket." All can see the corner. She never came out with us again. 3. Years ago my wife and I went out with this other couple. After the bill arrived I said split 50-50 as we all had about the same. Anyway, the tightwad other couple pulled out 2 buy 1 get 1 free vouchers for the place and said that should cover their half. Not too happy but not wanting to make a fuss I went along with it. Next time we went out, many months later, I pulled the same trick on him, except I kept egging him on to spend up big as it was a special night and talked him up about having a good time. Unbeknown to him I had given our voucher to the manager during a trip to the toilet. The bill arrived with our meals already marked as paid. Head him off no end. 4. Not quite what you asked but close. A few friends of mine were out for a meal. We were all enjoying our meals and the conversation. The table next to us, there was a woman in her mid-30s, who was loud and bossy. She had already complained to the waiter that the steak he had served her was medium and she had asked for rare. I'm sure that she had in fact ordered a medium steak, but it was none of my business, so said nothing. Later that evening when the waiter had brought their bill, she refused to pay for her steak since they had got it wrong in the first place. A friend of mine said "excuse me" to the waiter and showed him her phone as it played a short video at full volume. You could clearly hear the woman order a medium steak. Apparently she had videoed everyone's meal to post on Facebook, Snapchat or some other social media and had picked up this woman ordering her meal. You would have thought that was the end of it, but to our surprise one of her guests turned on her. "Lauren, you pull the same shit every time and finally you've been caught out. If I was the restaurant I would charge you for both steaks." Nearly every person in the restaurant was now looking at the drama that was happening at this table. The woman said sheepishly that she would pay for both steaks, then left the restaurant embarrassed. 5. After the men's league hockey game, we all used to go to the restaurant across the street. One guy was so stingy. We all knew it was this one guy and his GF, but they were sneaky. They'd leave early and when the pile of money was counted, they were long gone and the total was always short. We would all chip in extra for tip. I didn't drink, so I often kept tabs on who had what and what they should put in. Finally I was able to get a seat next to him. Yeah, this BS was going to stop that day. Sure enough, they got up to leave when everyone was laughing at a joke and distracted. He and the GF had at least $30 of food and drink. I saw him throw in a $10 and take a $20 for change. I simply told him I saw what he did, listed off what they'd ordered, what the total was, and what they needed to put in to cover their part of the bill. He finally broke through the rust sealing his wallet and threw in an appropriate amount. That day, there was plenty of money to cover the bill. It worked out great. I was a wife, not a team member. So what if I'm a bitch? It's nothing to do with the team. Funny thing though, those two didn't come for lunch after the game anymore. We were all heartbroken, but each personally richer. 6. We were at a nice restaurant having dinner with a couple who were close friends. Both of the people of the couple were notorious for being cheap and trying to get out of paying their fair share. What was worse is that they had plenty of money, more than a lot of our friends. During dinner, the wife of the other couple said something like since it was our idea to go out into that restaurant that we should pay the whole check. BTW, it was normal in our circle of friends for each couple to pay their own check. I didn't say anything in return and changed the subject. They went on to order an expensive bottle of wine, which we didn't drink because we had cocktails, appetizers for themselves, expensive entrees and dessert. Also during the meal the guy of the couple was really acting like an ass. I'd had about enough of them and was ready to call it an evening. So, I said I needed to use the men's room and left the table. I pulled our server to the side and let her know we were done. Wanted separate checks by couple and verified that she had kept track of who ordered what. She has assumed it would be checks by couple and had kept track. I went back to the table and not long after that our server came by with our checks. Their faces went white as they saw the big bill they ran up. I immediately gave the server my credit card and our check and she looked at them for the theirs. They didn't say anything, but with angry faces gave her their check and credit card. I knew they'd give the server a crappy tip, so I put enough tip on mine to cover both checks, just in case. That was many years ago, but still quite a satisfying memory. 7. I was in Salt Lake City and had breakfast with two friends. Everything there looked cheap to us folks from New Jersey. We were all professional men in our 50s, of sufficient means to take a hobby trip. We all had the breakfast buffet for $5 each. Two of us had coffee for an additional $1. The one guy was a neurotic putz who we believed just couldn't help himself but to be a jerk. The bill comes and he jumps up that his was $1 less because he didn't have coffee. My other friend was so disgusted he grabbed the bill and paid the whole thing. All $17 of it. This suited the putz just fine. Free breakfast. Then my friend told him to leave the tip. I glanced at the table and putz left $1 tip. My friend had left a $20 bill. I dropped another $5 on the table. The karma part? Putz never got invited on another trip.